I do love your mother, but she's more like a pet to me.
A pet?
When you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, mother or father, the dynamics of the situation and the environment is that you're nothing but a tool. You're just a thing to them that they can use to benefit from whatever it is that they need to use you for. They never show real, genuine love at all. The narcissist lacks little to no empathy at all. The abuse, the humiliation that they put you through as a child growing up. If you did something wrong, got in trouble at school, and made them look bad, they isolate you as a child, lock you in a room for days like you a prisoner, and feed you from your room while everybody else sitting at the table as a family. They holding you back from growing up. They don't teach you the fundamental things for you to get to the next level in life. They hiding your birth certificate, hiding your social security so you won't be able to get a job. They want you to rely on them. They want you to be their slave. They coach you how to act in public. You know, their image is everything. They want to show everybody that they're just this good parent and you're just the sweetest kid and, you know, you have a beautiful family. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, they just demons. And as you get older, you develop some sort of mental illness because of the amount of psychological and physical abuse that you had to endure. Some of y'all might be still dealing with y'all narcissistic parents. And you know they jealous of you. They talking about you to other people, talking about you like a dog to family members, trying to tell the family every flaw that you have to turn everybody against you. If you have kids, they want to take your kids. They want to control your kids. They want to just control your life. Meanwhile, you keep giving them chances after chances because they're your mother or they're your father, and you can't get it through your head. Why do they do me like this? The narcissist is bitter of you. You're everything that they want to be. They're not getting the same supply that they used to get, and they see that you're very young, you probably glowing, and they're bitter. They are your enemy. This is a spiritual warfare. Just because you was born into this family doesn't mean that this is your family. So if you dealing with this type of behavior from a parent, stay away from them. They are your enemy. This is warfare.
There's weird shit out there, man.
Have been confirmed that something else has happened and there's some weird shit going on in this neighborhood.
Land of voodoo and hoodoo and all kind of weird shit.
Family is weird shit, you know, but you survive it.
Trust me, there's a lot of weird shit going on in this family.
For example, the origin of your family's ancestry, or the type of work your family did, or maybe the struggles and the challenges.
Everybody knows what your family did.
And when I found out who you were and what your family did.
At least I didn't sell you out like your family did.
Things in here have been weird as well, like still weird shit going on. Just finding things out of place, things moving around.
Growing up as a targeted individual many of the negative traits we notice in ourselves or try to change often come from learned behaviors within our family. Some tendencies may be influenced by genetics, but most are acquired through different forms of conditioning, such as classical and operant conditioning, habituation, imprinting, and observational learning. That's how the system works. Some people avoid being directly involved in child grooming because of fear of karma. They follow the same principles as the elites do with predictive programming, where they tell us or show us indirectly what they are doing or planning to do in order to not violate the law of free will and to escape having karmic debt. So instead, they allow you to pick up these behaviors indirectly. This is why a lot of kids, you be hearing stories of them shooting themselves in the head because their parents left their gun unattended. This is all by plan. That way, they can later deny responsibility and make it seem like you developed those habits on your own. But in truth, their intentions were fully involved in the behaviors they encouraged and still continue to this day. It stems from unresolved issues that had twisted them over time. They became sick. Their main weapon is gaslighting, and their shield becomes plausible deniability. And what you will notice is, as they get older, you really can't correct them or tell them anything about themselves. They'll insist that you have no right because they either live longer, experience more, and supposedly know better. But in reality, the only reason they gotten this far is because people either enabled their dysfunction or stayed silent instead of being honest about their toxic behavior. Because of this, they go through life convinced they're always right and never wrong, having never faced real accountability and often believing their God never punished them. They eventually grow into narcissistic hypocrites. They talk about that in the Bible. The best thing you can do is distance yourself because their unhealthy mindset will isolate them anyway. That's why when you really look at it, many of them end up alone or with people who don't even truly love them or respect them. To avoid becoming sick and twisted like them, sometimes the only choice is to walk away. They never change. That's why some of them still treat you like a child. They never learn how to move forward, stuck in the past and unable to let go. As time went on, their mind stayed behind. That's why as targeted individuals, we often notice that many of our own family members act like NPCs. The government did a number on our great-grandparents, and the effects are shown today. They did a hell of a good job. Ask yourself, what kind of person would participate in gangstalking their own family? Well, the same kind of person who can hear about the Tuskegee experiment, how the government tricked citizens into believing they were being treated for bad blood while secretly experimenting on them, and still accept the apology as if it made everything okay. This wasn't a conspiracy. It was admitted publicly on television. Yet, the people went right back to trusting them, the same system that abused them. Now imagine giving those same people authority over your children, allowing them to convince you that gangstalking is a good thing, telling you it's for their own good or for the betterment of society. These people are sick in the head, so they accept sick behavior. Which brings us to the main topic I want to talk about: sick behavior being enabled, demonstrated. It's a lot of weird things that I witnessed in my family that I don't talk about. Part of me wants to believe the program forced them, but I can't shake the feeling that they enjoy doing these things because as I watch them do other things, they smile. They have a smirk on their face. Here's the truth. The program can convince you to do the things other people do to them. You want to know why? Because you're not sick in the head. You won't accept it. A lot of people accept it and they be Christians and they claim they know the Bible. Remember when Obama made that public statement about basically taking people's rights, and they clapped, and he said publicly, a lot of y'all haven't read your Bibles, because if you did, you would know that Jesus prophesied this, and you should know that I am the Antichrist. The Bible prohibits incest, but the program was able to convince people in my family to conduct sexual deviancy and indecent exposure. You know, my whole life, my family been trying to condition me with incest, or trying to condition me to be gay, and still try to this day. The program, you know, will convince your family to try to get you into sexualizing them in some way. And some of them like it. They like the attention. That's why the main ones you'll notice, you know, who participates, they don't know boundaries and privacy. They force every interaction with them. They be perverse, and, you know, they sick in the head. That's how I now realize why is so much incest happening in the community, especially with black families, because this program encourages. I can see it. If they know what you're thinking, they know your inner pleasures, your kinks and fetishes. All they need to do is exploit it. Let me tell you the type of sick behavior I had to witness with my family and some other people. First, I'm going to tell y'all the experience I had with my dad. You know, growing up, I haven't saw him deal with a female since I was born. After my mom, I haven't saw him not with one woman. Now, when I'm older, I saw, you know, now when I was little, I saw nothing wrong with it. I just saw him as a man. But as I got older, I noticed some feminine traits and tendencies with my dad. And to be honest, I'm still on the fence if he gay or not. Because the things he do, even though I know it's influenced by the program, some things you just don't do. Some things you can say no on, especially if you live longer than someone. You should know right from wrong, especially if you know God or proclaiming to know God. My only explanation is they actually enjoy doing what they're doing. I also realize a lot of evil people love to hide behind what they do in the name of God and Christianity. I see a lot of witches in the church also. Now, the program influenced my dad to do gay activities. For example, if you're using a bathroom, normally you would close the door. But one thing you'll realize is normal don't apply to them. So, you know, when they know you have to use the bathroom. So as I walked upstairs to use the bathroom, he got his ass in the air. He heard me coming. Didn't even bother to react to me, you know, jump back. And I jumped back like, oh, my bad. I waited a few minutes and we crossed paths, and he didn't even say nothing about it. Like, he didn't say, my bad, I thought you was gone, nothing. And this wasn't his first time he did this. The program would have other men do, which is what he showed me. You know, at times I walk it somewhere or walk in the kitchen or whatever, and he'd have his whole ass crack out. And I'd be like, yo, this shit is crazy. But he never had any understanding of boundaries. Like, he was used to getting his way. Kind of like a rapist. With being perverted. You know, in the past, you know, I see a lot of them has a history that you don't know about. That's why some negative traits can be inherited genetically. I remember I was staying with a coworker of mine, right? You know, the program know when you're about to do something and they get notified. So I was about to go in the kitchen to wash my dishes, and my coworker was in the kitchen, right? And he dropped his plate in the sink, and I was waiting to see was he going to just move on, wash him. So he bends over to grab the dish liquid, which is underneath the sink, with his back towards me. And when he bent over, he ain't bend his knees. He straight did an arch. And I'm like, yo, I walked away and I'm like, yo, these niggas is gay. That situation ain't last long because, for one, you know, I'm not with all the funny business. I mind my business and stay to myself. And the one pattern that I notice with these down low men, man, is that the program forces you to be around them. Like, a lot of the men that's around you, a lot of the females that's around you are gay people. I noticed that a lot of gay down low men, they cannot let you be at peace, not with yourself. They always look for a way to insert themselves into your business, into your emotions, you know, sometimes I just be like, man, like just leave me alone, right? But a lot of them, they don't know how to stop. They can't help themselves. Now, there was a similar situation with my landlord. He had a room next to mine, and I pass his room when I go to the bathroom. So one night he was snoring real bad, and it sounded like he was dying, right? So I just happened to turn around, and he hanging off the bed with his drawers below his knees and his butt in the air. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, it seemed like somebody went in there and did something. I'm like, yo, what is going on here? Now, when I used to stay with my mom, right, and her boyfriend, this was a long time ago, he used to walk around the house naked, right? And my older brothers used to live there too with us, right? And I remember my brother saying something to him about that because they had company. He said, and I remember him saying, this my house, I pay the bills. And I laughed at the time because I was young, but now when I look back, they always been trying to sensitize me to homosexuality. And everyone who I thought was men, who was a man and was masculine, they was all complacent. Then I remember, a friend of my brothers and them, they used to do pranks like pull each other pants down and show their ass and stuff. And, it was funny, but now it's not funny. They shooting their shot. They used to do this at the basketball court, and I never really questioned it at the time. Like, I see how far the sensitization and the conditioning go, because you think, oh, they just boys, boys knowing boys. Nah, that's boys being gay. And I realized, man, it's been going on my whole life, bro. These type of people been around me my whole entire life, bro. They be using these people as an agenda, man. They really do use these people, and they take care of them too. They pay their bills, man. As long as they pushing their agenda, man, they take care of these people. They give them a car, they give them a partner. Even though they're not attracted to their partner, they give them things, man, to push this agenda, bro. And the thing is, these people that participate, they either been touched on themselves when they was little, and they're required to do the same thing, and they being forced because they need, they need people to be a certain way. It's really sick behavior. But I can't shake the feeling that a lot of these dudes behind the scenes, they've been trying to, a lot of these down low dudes behind the scenes, they've been trying to stop women from being attracted to me, because either they was attracted to me or was once attracted to me and figured out I'm not gay and I don't swing that way, and they became butthurt, because only a gay person can hold a revenge such as gangstalking. Because a real man or woman, we learn to forgive and forget, forgive and let go. You in this program because you hurt somebody's pride and ego, and when a man has pride and ego, he inherit female traits.